I will work night and day with people in all the communities in East Leeds to try and solve these problems.
Priorities would be to listen to the people, best serve their interests, raise voices where they need to be raised.
We need to make sure we are bringing out all of that positivity.
Why I'm involved in politics is because I want to look after people, I want to tackle these kind of issues.
There's three main reasons I put my name forward as part of the selection process to choose our next Labour candidate and hopefully our next Labour MP here in East Leeds. The first reason is that I'm genuinely local. I live in Crossgates in the constituency, and my family have lived in East Leeds for 100 years, ever since they came as immigrants from Ireland looking for work. The second reason that I'm standing is because of the job I've done. So after 10 years of trying to interpret the law in favour of ordinary people, I now want to, as an MP, play a role in changing the law and shaping the law so the law is fundamentally in the interests of people in communities like our own here in East Leeds, not just in the interests of a tiny super rich elite at the top. And the third and final reason I'm standing is because I want to make sure that we have a vocal MP in Parliament who will argue for policies in the next Labour government that will really serve the interests of the communities in East Leeds and places like East Leeds.
I have been a councillor for City and Hounslow Ward in Leeds for the last 14 and a half years. And I've always been interested in this job, in helping people, making a difference in people's life. And this opportunity came when George decided to retire. And George being my role model, and he's been my inspiration. So I decided to put my hat in the ring and apply for his position.
I've spoken to many people who've told me about their concerns about the area. There's lots of pride and there's lots of things we are really proud of and pleased about in Leeds, and I'm proud and passionate about those, but I think we all want things better. We're not in the Labour Party because we're happy with how things are. We're in the Labour Party because we want to change things, and I want to change things. I want things better. I want things better in Leeds and I want things better in Leeds East.
But I decided I wanted to stand to be the MP for East Leeds because I really do think that I've got the skills and qualities and the passion that we need in our MP. I think I've got the local knowledge, the deep roots, but that's not enough in itself. When I look at the problems in East Leeds, I know that I'm the woman to really, really work and serve the people of East Leeds.
I represent an inner city area which has huge problems which are very similar in terms of deprivation, poor housing, unemployment, youth unemployment, underachievement, health issues. And living in Leeds for over 40 years, I'm confident that I can best represent East Leeds.
For me, some of the main issues are around jobs and skills to start off with. We need to make sure we're safeguarding jobs of today. It's really difficult for people at the moment. There's not much work out there. A lot of the work is part-time and there's not job security like there used to be. We need to make sure we're protecting workers' rights and we're protecting the jobs in our community today. But that's not enough. We need to look forward and think about what are the jobs of tomorrow and how can we make sure that Leeds is well placed to take advantage of those jobs and those opportunities that are coming forward. And secondly, how do we make sure that the people of Leeds East have got the right skills and qualifications to get those jobs, because that's not always been happening, and I want to make sure that we get those opportunities and we get the jobs and we've got people who are well placed to get them.
We have issues, we have education that's failing us. I've got kids, I'm a family woman, I've got kids that are at my local schools, and I know that I want so much for them, and I want the same for my children as everybody else wants for theirs, so I'm really, really aspirant for our children. When I look at our health services, I know that sometimes the health service is fantastic, and then other times I look at our elderly, and I know from my own personal family experience about how our elderly are just sometimes let down by public services, and I want to work there so that we get real care for our elderly that they deserve. I launched my East Leeds Living Wage campaign along with Unison, the union for the public sector workers. It's the biggest public sector worker union in the country.
The issues faced by all the communities in East Leeds are very similar, but it's places like East Leeds that bear the brunt of this Conservative government's programme of austerity, privatisation and cuts. It's places where working class people live, like our communities in East Leeds, that face the real sharp end of this government's programme. So the major problems in our area, youth unemployment of people of all ages, the attacks on our local NHS, the attacks on our local council. These are the problems that we need to get a Labour government back into power to solve.
I think extremism is often exaggerated. I think it's a very small part of what is going on, but it's often blown up in the media, like a lot of other issues are blown up in the media. You know, we in Leeds are the most diverse city outside of London, diverse in breadth of, and I'm proud of that. I think it's a fantastic part of our city. You know, the different diversities and cultures bring so much richness to the experience and to the strength of Leeds, and we need to be celebrating that. We need to make sure we are bringing out all of that positivity and making sure that each community is recognising the strength of each other and enjoying the strength of each other, because that's where we're going to get, you know, the strongest team and the strongest city that we ever can. There are, however, small parts of extremism, and we want to make sure that we're tough on that. We clamp down on it and we call it out when it happens, because as a party and as a community, we do call things out when they happen, and we don't want to make sure that that is the representation of what is usually a fantastic community and a diverse community that I want to celebrate and enjoy.
I think it's such a shame, and I think of our area as the region, we've got a label of extremism, and we shouldn't have that label. I look at the EDL, I look at the BNP, and of course we had the 7/7 bombers, and I think that we shouldn't be putting a label on anybody regardless of faith, creed or colour. What we need to be doing is attacking the issues that are actually mean that extremism does pervade in our society. And when I look at that, I think that what we really need to do is to have projects that reach out right across all the communities, that we shouldn't put up with extremism and we should challenge those ideas. Above all, we should not let those dangerous ideas just go unchallenged.
I think that extremism is a problem in lots of communities in Britain. I don't think it's a problem that's particular to one particular community. I know, for example, in the work that I've done to combat the extremism of the English Defence League, I know that there's extremism in the white community as well. I think that extremism always flourishes when the economic situation is harder, when people are worried that they don't have a job, when people are worried that their children can't afford to go to university, when people are worried that they can't get a house. This leads people to extreme ideas. And I think one of the ways to combat extremism is to make sure we have an economic plan in place, which means that the housing problems, the youth unemployment problems, all these problems are solved. Because if these problems are solved, I think people will be less likely to look to extremist solutions for their own problems.
There's so many different types of extremism, and I think it's always led to, or it's stems from unemployment when people are disappointed, they have nothing to do, especially youngsters, and they're led into certain kind of channels by groups, or people have nothing to do, and their frustration and anger leads to the things, undesirable things. And I think the best thing is making sure that our children are occupied, they go into education and have a career and keeps them occupied, and they see a light in the future for them. When they have nothing to do, that leads into all sorts of problems. There is other types of extremism in terms of, EDL, fascist groups. There's always elements who want to divide communities, and I think we need to take these issues seriously, nip them in the bud in the very early stages and diffuse them.
Why should people vote me? I think it's a very, very clear choice of why they should vote for me. I think that I'm a passionate person. I think that I believe in the Labour values that dictate in our party that we want change for the good. I think that they should vote for me because I am the woman that will deliver for the people of East Leeds. I am the woman that knows the issues in East Leeds, not just because I'm local, but because I know how to do this. As a local councillor, I know the levers of power that I need to pull to effect change. And beyond that, I know that I work nationally with people, really big figures in our party, you know, big hitters in our party, and I know how to deal with them. I know that sometimes their ideas need challenging, and I also know that we need a strong, effective voice, not just somebody that will take the whip every single time. Sometimes these issues are so important to our community that I'll be a strong voice. I'll be challenging those ideas where it matters, and I'll be talking to those people, and I'll be saying East Leeds deserves better, because I'll always put the people of East Leeds first.
Because I know how to deliver change. I know how to do it. I've done it before. You know, at 32 years old, which is how old I am, I have introduced a law to Parliament. It was the fourth most supported motion in parliamentary history. That's quite a long time. You know, other countries around the world have looked at us and copied that legislation. And if you ask politicians in Parliament, they would say, I was the person that drove that. You know, in the face of people telling me it was impossible, I drove change, and I want to drive that change here. You know, I know how to do it. I've been recognised for doing that, and I won't stand back. And I also think that, you know, Parliament needs to look and feel more like the country. It needs fresh faces. It needs passionate voices. And I will promise you, I will be a passionate voice for change. And I want to shake things up. I'm not a steady and safe candidate at all. I'm not about the status quo. But I don't think that's what our party is about. And I think our party is at its best when it's bold. And I want to be bold, and I want to drive change here.
I hope that the members of East Leeds Labour Party, members like myself, will vote for me to be our next Labour candidate and hopefully our next Labour MP here in East Leeds, because for 10 years I've had a track record of representing and getting results for local people in our community in tough situations. As a Labour lawyer, I've represented thousands of people in Leeds in the last 10 years. And I think as our MP, I can do an effective and thorough job in representing and getting results for local people. Also, if I'm selected and elected, I'll be proud to devote my life to serving all communities in East Leeds. And I make this promise. I'll be vocal in Parliament, I'll be present in our constituency, and I'll not be afraid to raise any issue at all that affects our communities.
I am local, like everybody else praises, but I can demonstrate that I've lived in East Leeds for the last over 40 years, went to local schools, worked in the area. I know the area inside out. I know the issues, problems that local community face. I'm a local person, and to be honest, I'm not a politician, a career politician. I came into politics by accident because about 18 years ago, my family was a victim of crime, and I decided that I need to do something as a citizen. I'm grateful for the city, what the city has given to me and my family, so I wanted to put back something into the community. So as a result, I came in politics, and I know the area, I'm local, I've got the experience. In all aspects, what I say and I mean, what I preach, I actually put in practice. My 4 priorities are education, make sure our children are educated. As a result, I've set up so many projects with Leeds City Council to tackle underachievement. I believe in better housing, quality housing. Therefore, I sit on Health and Housing Scrutiny Board of Housing and Regeneration. Community safety is very dear to me. As a result, I decided to sit on Police and Crime panel and before what used to be West Yorkshire Police Authority. So these are the things that are dear to me, and I also practice them in my role as a councillor in Leeds.
Spot.